Greetings, friend, and welcome. UNESCO says at least 40% of the world's languages are endangered, with roughly one language disappearing every 2 weeks. Many survive primarily through elderly speakers, oral traditions, handwritten dictionaries, radio archives, or recordings that were never designed for machine learning. As those speakers disappear, AI is suddenly offering something earlier preservation efforts could not: a way to turn small collections of speech and text into searchable archives, transcription systems, dictionaries, translations, and teaching tools. Te Media, a Maori-owned organization in Aotearoa, New Zealand, spent decades recording Te Reo Maori through Indigenous radio. It later used those archives and hundreds of hours of newly recorded speech to build its own automatic speech recognition system. New Zealand's government now cites Te Hiku as an example of Indigenous-led AI, and the system has reached transcription accuracy around 92% in published accounts. Instead of waiting for a global technology company to support Maori, the community built the technology itself. Te Hiku has argued that Maori language data belongs under Maori guardianship and should not automatically become an open resource that corporations can copy, train on, and monetize. New Zealand now formally recognizes Maori data sovereignty, including rights over the collection, access, interpretation, reuse, and control of Maori data. The preservation problem therefore becomes an ownership problem. Saving a language digitally does not necessarily mean giving it away. The grassroots Masakane community points out that Africa has roughly 2,000 languages, yet African languages remain severely underrepresented in natural language technology. Its researchers are building translation models, speech data sets, and language tools for Africans by Africans. One project is collecting text and speech for Luganda, Runyankore Rukiga, Acholi, Swahili, and Luhya languages across Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. Before a machine can preserve a language, somebody first has to teach the machine that the language exists. A 2025 project called ILR 1000 collected 1,060 traditional recipes from rural communities in eastern India across 10 endangered indigenous languages. The recipes preserved not only vocabulary, but food traditions and cultural context. Researchers tested major language models on translating them and found that the models struggled with culturally specific language. Translation improved when the AI was given additional cultural background, examples, and preservation instructions. A language can survive grammatically while its meaning is rewritten. Researchers have begun adapting language models for Sami, whose languages are so digitally underrepresented that researchers classify some as ultra-low resource. In the Americas, teams have trained speech recognition systems for Quechua, Guarani, Bribri, Kuteria, and Waikana, including the first open speech recognition models reported for Kuteria and Waikana. UNESCO is also supporting indigenous language AI work in Latin America, while warning that communities must control how their voices, stories, knowledge, and cultural material enter these systems. Large models learn patterns from whatever data they receive. For endangered languages, that data set may be tiny, old, incomplete, dominated by one dialect, or mixed heavily with a colonial language. A model can confidently invent translations, flatten regional differences, or introduce concepts from dominant cultures that were never part of the original language. In 2026, UNESCO released its global roadmap for multilingualism in the digital era, calling for endangered and low-resource languages to be supported by machine translation, speech recognition, and other language technologies. One of its central principles is that language communities themselves must remain involved in decisions and governance of their linguistic data. Once enough speakers disappear, a digital model may become one of the largest surviving repositories of how that language sounded, what its words meant, and how its stories were told. A language is more than vocabulary. It carries humor, history, spirituality, relationships, land, memory, and ways of understanding the world that do not always translate cleanly into another tongue. If AI becomes the last system capable of speaking a dying language, who gets to decide whether it is preserving that culture or rewriting it? Until next time, this is Micah Sai, And you're watching the Singularity Hub. Subscribe for more.